You're looking at a daily chart of the NASDAQ, and it did something significant recently. And that back from June 2nd, 2022, that high of 12,320, got above the 270 there, above the 269 here, 12,269, and it poked above it last week. Of course, it helped that Paul Tudor Jones and Steve Cohen said they're bullish, especially on AI, and I'll get that to that in a minute. But the Nasdaq had a strong uptrend in January, pulled back, and now it's in another strong uptrend here and breaking above the old highs of 12,320, 270, 269. So it's making higher lows and higher highs, and that's a definition of an uptrend. And you can see the power trend here with the stacked moving averages. Anyway, I mentioned Stevie Cohen and Paul Tudor Jones, and when they say they're bullish, especially on AI, it looks like some people listened and put their money to work. We could take a look at the weekly here on AI, and it was up 30% last week, so not a bad week. Some of the big players, I'm not going to do NVIDIA and Tesla because in Google, we know that that's driving the index higher, but there's a lot of stocks doing well. So I'm not going to do NVIDIA, but I will go to AMD. And here on the weekly, you can see there's a nice consolidation here and broke above this buy point. It was up 11% on the week. There you can see the consolidation and the rip higher. Traded below the 50 and then rallied back through it. And we saw a lot of that with the, a lot of different semiconductor stocks. Here's ACLS, undercut the 50 and then did the Debo, put the foot in the ground, ran straight up field and stiff armed a face mask or two and just pulled back on Friday. Still near a buy point though. AEHR did the same thing, undercut the 50 and now rallied back above. And this is showing a nice little base pattern here. And I know a lot of people are interested in that stock. And also one of a couple of them that were on our watch list last week, it just exploded higher. One was Broadcom. And this one is extended now, but congrats to the longs there. And the other one was on Semiconductor, which traded actually undercut its 200 and rallied through all the moving averages. Came back up to this standard buy point, just pulled back on Friday. But yeah, that thing was getting a little hot. That right side of that base is just straight up. So anyway, a lot of the semiconductor stocks doing the Debo. I'm going to move on to the home builders. A lot of people are not believing this move in the home builders, but seeing is believing. I just trade what I see. And this thing had an ascending base and just ripped higher. It's gone up. If you're a weekly kind of guy, it had this 3 weeks tight pattern. And the last couple of weeks, it's been up. It's just like a machine. 17%, 4%, and 3.8%. So congrats to the longs there. Builders first source, but there's a lot of them that are just doing well. I mean, it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel here. This is Green Brick Partners, another one that had a big week 2 weeks ago. Yeah, a nice 29% move and has continued higher, 4 and 3% higher. So congrats to the longs there. DR Horton, I believe this is the largest market cap in the group, 37 billion market cap. You can see the long period of consolidation and then just a little handle. Let's see, it had a 3 weeks tight here. What does this look like on the daily? Yeah, the big consolidation and a base within the base here. Now it kind of broke out after earnings and forming a little shelf, pulled back to the 10 EMA on Friday. So I still like that one. I'm a believer in the home builders. Um, Pulte is another one. You can see the base and the breakout. I mean, nothing to do here but just count your money. Let that thing ride. I know it's easy to say and hard to do, but it's not even pulling back to the 10 barely. It's getting support at the 10. Maybe one day it'll come back to the 21 and provide an opportunity for us. Anyway, I want to take a look at the biotech stocks because these things got hit with that news that the FTC is interfering with the Amgen Horizon deal, which I do not like, but anyway, it doesn't care what I want to do. But anyway, the TG Therapeutics, it's in this little bull wedge pattern. And once it breaks this downtrend about 30, 50, I'm kind of liking this pattern right here. I like this wedge, coincides with the 21. Maybe it'll kick below it and then trade above it. This thing's up like a lot in 20, 23, but even since November of last year, I think it's up, 350% or something. So that stock looks good to me and may provide an opportunity here soon. Viking Therapeutics, this one is up, more than TG Therapeutics, I believe. But anyway, they had a positive phase 1 trial here, and this one this gapped up. And last week they had a positive phase 2 trial, and I thought it would, make a little more noise here, and it's starting to form this little wedge pattern as well on decreasing volume. Take a look at the weekly; it was still up, nearly 2% last week, but and a bullish engulfing candle. But man, the positive phase 2 trial, they've got some compounds in the pipeline. This is probably a longer term stock. I don't think they're going to come to market with a drug until next year. Maybe, the second half of next year. But I like that one. This is Immunogen. A lot of people talk about the high tight flag pattern. This is actually a high tight flag, up 100% and just flagging sideways, and also the short stroke pattern here. You can see the breakout of the base and then the short stroke here on the following week. Last week it was up 4%. This thing may just be getting started, folks. I really like the looks of that one. PTGX is another one that's still in a base. Got to look at the daily here. Still in this base, trading sideways. Like I said, the biotechs and the some of the drug stocks were hurt by the news from the FTC going after Amgen, but we'll see what happens there. Novo Nordisk, this one traded down to the 21 and then bounced on Thursday and Friday slightly. I would expect a bigger bounce from that, but still, it's ready to take out that 172.97 high. Obviously, strong sales growth, the fundamentals, the technicals, that one looks really good to me. I'm going to move on to the shoe stocks. I could talk all day about the shoes. I've been on my side, I've been telling people this thing is overvalued. I mean, it happens on holdings. It had the market cap. It had before the haircut last week of like 18%, it had 11 billion market cap with 1 billion in sales. So shoe stocks don't trade at 11 times sales. Software does, but not footwear. And on holdings got a nice haircut last week and sliced its 50. So it's adios muchachos if you had that one. Crocs, this one did the vertical violation of the 50 when they reported earnings, and this thing just wants to base. Probably going to come down here to this 200 here and have a date with the 200. This one has, it's going to have 4 billion in sales, and it's got a market cap of 6.7 billion. So draw your own conclusions there. That's less than 2 times sales. They're going to earn, they said conservatively, they expect the U.S. consumer to slow down. The CEO said that, and they conservatively guided to $11.73. So we'll see what happens. It's probably going to take a quarter or two, and that one's going to be in timeout. Skechers was looking good, and then Foot Locker happened on Friday, and it just pulled back to its 21. But that one's still on watch. Deckers, another one, has the same sales growth as Crocs. Not sales growth, had the same sales. 3.65 billion last year, probably about 4 billion this year. And they report earnings this week on the 25th. So we'll see. Definitely has a nice trend, earnings trend. $18.56. Has quite the market PE though. The market cap 12 billion, and the PE is getting a much richer multiple than Crocs because doesn't have the debt that Crocs has. Anyway, I'm going to move on from the shoe stocks and go to the software names. This is my last group that I'm going to cover today, because they're in these stage 1 bases here, and I like this company. I like the stock here, and above 33.68. This one looks good to me in this stage 1 base. Keep your eye on HashiCorp, Datadog, same type of principle here. This 90.01 here took it out. This one's trading above its 200 simple moving average. That one looks good to me. CrowdStrike, similar look here on these patterns. 140.21, I like. It's above its 200 simple moving average as well. Snowflake, one of the higher multiples here. It's got 2 billion in sales and 58 billion market cap. So yeah, okay, 30 times sales, but it's in this stage 1 base. So let's take a look at the weekly. It's a weekly Yeah, so that looks good to me. But if the market goes up, this thing's gonna go up more than the market. If it goes down, it's gonna go down more than the market. They're growth stocks and they're gonna fluctuate more than the indexes. Okay, last week at mcstockcharts.com, we had a lot of stocks that worked well for us. This one was Rambus. It was in this base and consolidated and just blasted higher. It got an upgrade and it got, the news from Paul Tudor Jones and Steve Cohen, as I mentioned. And that one just took off. Another one that we got lucky with was a New Relic, which was in buyout talks. This one just exploded higher. I should go to the weekly. 13.8% for the week. So congrats to the longs there. Another one we got lucky with. Just put it on, and the next day it blasted higher. It's nice to get lucky consistently. And this one blasted up almost 10%. Yeah, so that was a good move. If you have options, that's a powerful move with options. Netflix, a good way to play the high price stocks. A lot of people playing options on that one. And then DUOL, this is the last one I'm going to do today, Duolingo. We had this one on our watch list, and this one got to go to the weekly on the weekly reviews. Yeah, this one had a nice 6.29% appreciation last week, and it still looks good to me. You can see it broke out of that stage one consolidation, which I showed you with the other software stocks. Anyway, that's it for this week. We never give up.